Okay, when you did that thing, that's how Moses really parted the Red Sea. Had nothing to do with a staff. It was a focus and it was a vibration. Didn't you feel like you just had to get out of the way of that point? Did you feel it coming? Woo! Rafe has, as Beverly was saying, will be here on Friday night. You know, when he plays at the Triple Door, it sells out, and then you have to pay for parking. You don't have to pay for parking here. And we're going to create a dance floor, right? Ooh, oh yeah, a little boogie. Spiritually speaking. I'm really grateful. A few things that I want to say, but first, well, let's just get something over with, because people that had birthdays last service kind of got sandwiched in. So, and your birth is important. No matter what's going on in the world, your birth is important. So if you're having a birthday, would you stand up or wave your hand so we can give you a gift? Yes, Marilyn Valentine. Woohoo! Yeah, great over there. Yeah, oh, yay! Happy birthday. This is wonderful. Marilyn celebrated last week. Did you get your card? Your gift? Okay, then there you go. It's all done. The other thing that I'd like you to do is just sign in. If you have a smartphone, just let people know that you're at the Center for Spiritual Living, and we still believe God's good. We still believe God's good. I say that because last week was a wild ride again, wasn't it? Wasn't it a wild? It seemed like I was living one of the poems by Rumi, where he says, every day is a guest house. And you don't know what's going to show up. You have to just welcome it. Because on the same day that I was lamenting another tragedy in an area close to us in Marysville, especially when you live in Snohomish County, Marysville is close. At the same time, I was reading that Paul Allen gave $100 million to help us contain, alleviate, and prepare for Ebola. Ebola. And so it's like everything's a mixed bag, isn't it? So in one way, we are, through one man, reaching out to help our country and a nation and a continent, and then another one, through one person, so much tragedy happens. Everything is just a mixed bag. And I believe that one of the reasons that I want to live a spiritual life is that I want to find that centered place within myself that no matter what hits me that day, because every day is a guest house. I'm going to open the door and I don't know what's going to come in. I want to have balance so that I can move and stay upright by whatever happens. And I believe that the spiritual traditions of our world were inspired by spirit and spoken through human beings so that we could find our equilibrium, so that we could find our balance point, so that we respond as spiritually mature people and don't get caught up in something so that we create an even worse situation. How many of you have ever had that, especially in families? You know, somebody's doing something and then all of a sudden you realize you helped. Scary. So we're going to shift now to let a spiritual tradition speak to us. And that particular tradition is in the form of what's been known as the Lord's Prayer. In a moment, Rafe, in his beautiful elegance, is going to give you one of the Aramaic traditions, or interpretations of Lord's Prayer. And in the Aramaic, you can go a whole bunch of different ways, but when I heard it this morning, I thought, I recognize that prayer. This may be the way a man named Jesus would have said it, but the way we probably remember it is, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And deliver us from evil. And I forgot the rest. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the whole... What? Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. And unless I get into the cadence, I sometimes forget it. But let's hear it again.
So I invite you here and now just to breathe that vibration in of every note. Take this time to turn our attention to that Mother, Father, Creator of all that is. The very light for which all things exist exists within our very being, vibrating. Existing within everything. Science proves that there are subatomic particles filled with light within the very essence of who we are. Within the very chair we may be sitting on, within the very clothes which we're wearing at different times and at different vibrations, but still, it's all light. And so I take this time to know that light for each and every one of us. And if you're at a time where something is heavy on your heart, whether it may be the shooting of Mukilteo schools, let us take this time to take even that sadness and to absolutely know that God is present. It is for always in existence. There is no place where God is not. So I take that heavy heart, if it exists, or a light heart, if you're feeling love, and I embrace it like a little child. And I love it, because if it is all spirit, then it exists with even this. And I look beyond my human eyes and I open my spiritual eyes to see that love of God, to see that light of spirit within all and everything and everyone. So I open this service knowing it, believing it, feeling that love, that light, that oneness of all that is. And so it is.
Holy, I love that. Holy, holy, holy. To be holy, to really experience that H-O-L-Y, to know that you are holy, comes from knowing you're whole, nothing missing, nothing wrong. Right the way I am. I can't become better. I can only recall my own wholeness, and then I become holy, holy, holy. So, wow, life is good. And one of the things I love about our particular services is that I get to listen to people who have a great story, and someone who has a great story is someone I also like a whole lot. She's my friend and a board of trustee and an inspiration, Andrea Weatherhead.
Thank you. Good morning. So Michael Ingersoll caught me in a weak moment to ask me to do this power talk. I've been slipping out of doing them for 18 years. And when I went around to ask people, I said, I have to do a power talk. What should I talk about? And all my CSL friends said, you mean you get to do a power talk? That's when you know you're in good company. But they said, just be yourself. Just be Andrea. Just be yourself. It'll be great. Kathianne just said, you'll just get up there and talk, whatever. So I said to myself, but this is 5 minutes that they'll never get back. So I better say something of substance. I first walked in the doors here kind of slightly unwillingly from a friend who dragged me here in 1996, and I think I've probably been to many more services than I haven't been to for the last 18 years. It's over a third of my life I've spent here. And I just love this place. I love this place. I have a passion for this place. I came in and it was Groundhog's Day and it was their high holy holiday, and I thought that was so cool. And then there was a talk that Kathianne did about light and shadows and embracing your shadow and shedding light, and she used metaphors from Star Trek and physics and science and psychology, and it just grabbed me, grabbed my intellect and grabbed my heart. I had a broken heart that day. I had had a broken heart for a couple of months, and since that time, I have reassembled my heart, strengthened my heart, softened it, and opened it way up by spending time here with these teachings and these programs. So I can't summarize in a very short time 18 years of amazing manifestations from these teachings. I was a slow burner. I was kind of the crock pot of spiritual development because it took me a long time. I actually became a licensed practitioner last year. It took me 18 years to get there. Thanks. So I'm just going to summarize by a few categories what I experienced from these teachings. And the main theme of it is God as source. God is the source. God is the source of everything and everyone and every event and everywhere. And I really glommed onto this when it came to donating money originally. I wrote a check the first year I was here that was over a fourth of my income. I don't know how much I'm going to earn each year because I'm self-employed. So I just put this down as a stake in the ground. And, it was really easy because Kathianne had said that it's not your money, it's God's money. It's just the circulation of love from God. So when it came to becoming a member and tithing was only 10%, it was like, oh, that's easy. I've been way overdoing it. So it's just not your money, and just remember that. And now it's a game. I just write down how much I think a tenth of my income should be. It's usually a large number, and then I see what happens. And it's been happening quite well after this. In my work, in my career, in my museum work, some of you know I work on developing interactive museums, kind of a niche industry. People say, you do what? My father used to say, they need that? Anyone needs that? All the credit to the success I give to the teachings because my mental equivalent has been enlarged by the programs here and by the teachings. And each project I've taken on has gotten larger and larger. And thankfully, I haven't had any that haven't made opening day on time and on budget with, interesting experiences. They're God's ideas. They're God's ideas. They flow through my team, my creative team, and it's a lovely divine process to watch them come together in their interdisciplinary roles and find a place where we think of something new, something engaging. And the faith that I get from knowing God as the source is that I can see people walking through these experiences before we've even begun to put them on paper. I can see people enjoying themselves in the building, doing things, laughing, having fun, and then it is manifested through divine faith. So I'm so appreciative of that. A really quick thing happened where somebody stole one of our ideas and produced it. And one of my colleagues said, doesn't it just make you crazy mad when someone takes your creativity and then takes advantage of that and sells it? And I said, based on the teachings here, I took foundations 4 times, by the way. There's plenty more where that came from. There's plenty more where that came from. There's an endless amount of creativity available all the time. If they need to steal that one thing, God bless them. God's my source, and I know there's plenty where that came from. He said, well, I rely on lawsuits to solve those problems. So he relies on lawsuits, I rely on God, and I think I'm a happier person for it. Yeah, thanks. And just overcoming. You can have a great, successful career, but you can have some issues in your personal life. Those are the consciousness that I'm developing. 3 years ago, my marriage ended against my will. I was very sad. And at the same time, my father, who is my North Star, was dying. And it was a very, very rough time because when he died, I felt like an entire library had been burned down. He was such a source of wisdom for me. And I went to a retreat because when I get there, in that place where I'm sad, I know I need to deepen my spiritual practice and call on God. And I do that through retreats and programs here at CSL. Kathianne saw me in the lobby and she said, "How are you doing?" And I looked really bad. I had been sobbing on my kitchen floor for weeks. And she said, "You know, Andrea, the one day you're going to find a place where you are at the center of calm while the rest of the world just swirls around you, disintegrating, falling apart, some things blossoming, some things not, some things colliding. And you will have that God inside you that keeps you calm and keeps you centered." And boy, I really wanted to feel that then. I so did. And I'm so happy to say that after embarking upon Inward Journey and Prac 2 and becoming a practitioner, that I feel that now in the face of a lot of adversity. And I really wish for everybody to have that experience. And lastly, God is an absolutely unlimited source of love, and it shows up so clearly here in this community. I first came here, kind of sat in the back, really loved the talks, and then zipped out as fast as possible, and took a lot of classes, because I am very kind of a lifelong learner type. And I grew up in a family of real fierce individualists who don't really join lots of clubs and societies and things. And my father, who's English, used to say about people derisively, "He's the type of fellow that sings on buses." So, well, Dad, I sing on buses. If you saw me in India last year, we sang all the way through the countryside. So I want to say that when I went through the sorrow that I went through, that people invited me into their sanghas, they invited me to their houses, they encouraged me to see practitioners, they encouraged me to be a practitioner. They comforted me and they celebrated with me. I was so sad when we opened the Museum of History and Industry that I didn't have a partner with me to see that, and my dad was dead and I didn't think he could see it, although I know that's not true. But the entire church came. Everybody came and celebrated and witnessed that accomplishment with me, and I was so grateful. So thanks very much. I am so happy to be here. I'm so happy to have made so many friends, and I really appreciate all of your love and support. Thanks.
I got to know Andrea a little better when we found out that we were from the same semi-close range towns in Oregon, except she was born on the good side of the river. But that's okay. Today I start a series on thriving, and to me, thriving, I could use another word, but I think thriving is like the new acceptable word. A word that we've used for like 20 years is prospering. Because to prosper means to flourish, to thrive, to do well, to bloom, to get ahead, to get on, and to be successful. Anybody have a problem with that? Great. Oh, only one person has a problem with that. Okay, two. Okay. Is it the flourishing, the thriving, the doing well, the blooming, the getting ahead? I got this from the dictionary, by the way, this morning. I'm not making this up. To be successful, this to prosper. To prosperity is ease, plenty, comfort, security, and well-being. Got that from the dictionary today, too. Anybody have a problem with well-being? Okay. Security, comfort, just checking this out. Ease. No, I want it hard. Anyway, and plenty. All right. The reason I bring this up is because when I do these talks, I've often felt resistance, but I've been doing this for like 22 years, so it's starting to become a nice porous consciousness. And I want to do this in a totally different way, but I first need to give some definitions. What I want to talk about is 4 keys, and they're spiritual keys, because you could have keys, other kinds of keys to thriving. You could have nutritional keys. You could have how to win friends and influence keys. There's lots of ways that people have promoted thriving, but I want to promote it in a spiritual way. And by spiritual, I want to say spiritual. By spiritual, I want to define that the way Ernest Holmes does, which is a constructive atmosphere of goodness. And the dictionary says it's related to the human soul or spirit. So how do we shift our soul or our spirit, and how do we construct an atmosphere of goodness so that we can thrive? So that we can thrive. Now, sometimes when other institutions promote prosperity, they mean money. And this is not about money, but it involves money, because money is the best excuse you can come up with to not prosper. To not do well, you can't do well. It's not my fault. It's the money's fault. Like money has some power, some secret power. And what we do is we make an effect cause. But money's always just an effect. It shows up for people who are willing to prosper, to thrive. And then what's needed for thriving begins to show up. Now, that's all very philosophical, and it sounds good, and I don't see too many people in this room resisting it right now, but the rubber meets the road when we're really allowing it to happen in our life, and that's my goal. My goal is that you prosper, that you thrive. You and your family and all your relations, as the Native Americans would say. That means your dog, your cat, and everybody else. I want them to thrive and to prosper, and I'm going to give you some information about that. And guess what? It won't affect me at all. I don't care. I've been using this for long enough that I've actually got enough money set aside that it doesn't matter if they employ me anymore. So honestly, I'm giving this to you because I want you to thrive and prosper. And the very first key is all about feeling. Feeling. See, so many people have good thoughts about prosperity. I mean, there's great thoughts. We're going to give you a thought. We're going to, pass out thoughts. When you came in, you got a thought, you got a prayer. It's a great prayer. With God as my partner, I know that I'm capable of great things. As I undertake to become all that I'm meant to be, I welcome prosperity and abundance in all areas of my life. Doesn't that sound good? Those are good words, aren't they? But if you say these words and you still know that you don't feel good because today's bad, that you're barely making it today, that feeling negates those words. When it comes to words and feelings, feelings trump everything. So my job is to give you some clues as to how to create the feelings that you want to have. Because a thought plus a feeling equals a result. A thought plus a feeling will equal a result. You can think all you want. And actually, these are fabulous words. I think this was probably created by Reverend Michael. It's gorgeous. But if I say, with God as my partner, and I still think that God's someplace out there, or it just likes other people, or somehow I've done something that makes me permanently flawed, if that's what I really feel, God will partner with me in that. And the universe will support my feelings. Oh, isn't that hard? It's kind of like Andrea. Her life is falling apart, and I am trying to hold for her a time when she will know peace, and eventually it happens. But man, it's hard when you're in the midst of things falling apart to find that peace, isn't it? It's hard in the midst of things being troublesome to know that there is a solution and to come from confidence. So there's 3 ways to come from confidence. There's 3 ways to develop the kind of feeling that you might want to have in your life so that you prosper, meaning flourish, whether it's in your finances or it's in your relationships. How many of you would love to have a relationship that was flourishing? Oh, I love it. It's kind of sneaky, aren't you? How many of you would like to have a body that's flourishing? Oh, I noticed the hands go up. Oh, yeah. What I love is that that when it comes to our physical well-being, you can't be too well. Isn't that true? But some of us can think we can be too wealthy. And wealth just means well-being. Three ways to move into feeling, because it is the spark plug for everything you want. You can affirm until as my papa would say, you can affirm till the cows come home. And the cows do come home every night. They come home. They know where the grain is. They know who's going to milk them. The cows come home. I mean, I don't even know why they had that saying. But anyway, you can affirm till the cows come home. But if you don't feel it, you put it off into the future. Because your current consciousness is creating your next experience. Your current consciousness creates your next experience. So the only way to change your next experience is to change your consciousness. And a thought plus a feeling will equal a result in your consciousness that then becomes a new beginning, a new start. First of all, you got to know you can start again. And when you leave, you're going to get a declaration of financial independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created in the image and likeness of God. Great words, but I want you to start to feel them. And it says you have the power to start over again, to not be the result of yesterday's consciousness, and that you start today's consciousness, and that today's consciousness comes with an idea, and the idea is that you were created in the image and likeness of something great. In first service, Andrea said, she used to not talk about God, so I was here before God, and it's true. I do talk about God now because I know it pushes buttons. Why should I make you comfortable? Really? This teaching is not to be comfortable. This teaching is to explode your soul into everything it can be. And sometimes the only way to do that is to push on a button that's there, and then all of a sudden it goes, whoo, hoo, hoo. And you open up. So this thought, and the thought is that you are in the image and likeness of God. You are an expression of life, and life is there to thrive. You are an epicenter of thriving. You are the place where spirit can thrive. But you can't just think it, you also have to feel it. You can't just think that I would like to be able to send my children to college. You've got to feel like you could send your children to college. You can't just think, I'd like to have a job in which I express my talents. You've got to feel as though you can have that job that would express your talents. Feeling is key. So there's 3 steps to feeling. 2, anyone can do. The third is a little tougher. So I'll give a little more help to the third one. The first one, though, is that if you want to move into more feeling and really start to put a spark to the words that you're having, take a deep breath. You need to start flexing your imagination. Flex your imagination. Imagine. It's not just a nice song. It's what you have the capability of doing. You can imagine something. And if you say, I can't imagine something, you are, be nice, Kathianne. You're copping out. You're copping out on your own life. Everyone has the ability to imagine. It was given to everyone. It is a spiritual strength within you. Now, it might be harder, and you might not have used it in a long time. Therefore, it's kind of weak, but you can flex it and make it stronger. You need to imagine the end and then move into it and live there. Now, let's give an illustration. How many of you, if you got an envelope and the return address was the IRS, how many of you would immediately imagine the worst? Can I see a few more hands? I mean, when you get, what? The IRS. It's an envelope. It's to you, personal. They're sending you something. I don't know about you, but I would think, oh my goodness, what did I do 6 years ago? Oh my goodness, what have I made a mistake? Oh no. Compounded with interest and fees. We'll have to sell the house. I was great at imagination. When I married, I was going to say my first husband, but he wasn't. But I was young. One of those younger husbands. It would be 8 o'clock at night. He wasn't home because he was a logger. He'd go to the bar afterwards. By 8 o'clock, I had him dead and in a hospital. That was my imagination. Imagination goes everywhere, but what happens is we let imagination rule our thoughts instead of us ruling our imagination. You get to pick something, imagine it, and when your mind wants to go this way, you go, no, back there. Ah. That's what I do to my horses. They move a foot, I go, ah. But we don't do that. You know, we have better trained pets than our own mind. How many of you have a better trained pet than your own mind? You know, the pet, like you tell it to sit, it sits. You tell it to stay, it stays. You know, I'll say, lift your foot. My horse will lift its foot. And yet I will sometimes say, oh no, I'm going to cultivate peace. No, you're not. It's just no. There's another power that you have, and it is will. Will is focused. So you focus your imagination to create the experience of that which you want. Now, it may not, you might say, but it's not happening. Well, great, then imagine it 6 months from now, or imagine it a year from now. I don't care how far you need to imagine, since spirit and your higher self, your soul, your spirit, which is an expression of spirit, doesn't live in time and space. It doesn't matter how you create it in your mind to make yourself agree with it. It's happening now. You move into it and your mind thinks it's happening now. So create being in the job you love. Create having what you need when you need it. Look at your checkbook and imagine that there's zeros. Whatever it is, God bless it, zeros. Whatever it takes for you, but see it, feel it. What does it feel like? That's so important. You have to imagine the scenario, walk into it, and feel it. That's the first way to do that. The first way to cultivate feeling. Because you're not going to get anywhere if your feeling negates your thought. Second way, just cultivate the feelings. I was going to give a quote from Kathy Galvin. She sent this to me, and this is by Epicurus. Not what we have, but what we enjoy constitutes our abundance. Not what we have, but what we enjoy constitutes our abundance. When I was lived on Magnolia, I would walk around Magnolia and love the gardens because I love beautiful yards and gorgeous yards. And I'd walk and I'd enjoy it. I enjoyed everything about it. I didn't pay the taxes. I didn't pay the water bill. I didn't pay for the gardener. I just got to enjoy it. It made me feel abundant to walk there. One of my first mentors had me go in and just touch clothing that I would eventually like to wear. Because the clothing that he sent me to go touch was not the kind of clothing I was buying. I needed to feel like I actually belonged in those department stores and in that particular department. Remember the collection department in Frederick and Nelson upstairs? Racks were far apart. Very few clothes because they didn't need to sell many. I honestly, the first time I walked in there, thought an alarm would go off. Imposter, wannabe. I had to begin to feel comfortable there. It's a feeling. What do you do that lets you feel abundant, happy, secure? All those things that we say thriving is. What gives you a sense of well-being? What gives you a sense of blooming? Ease. Cultivate those things. Feel them over and over again, because then that's the spark plug that you put into statements such as, with God as my partner, I know that I'm capable of great things. I'm amazed at what Andrea takes on and produces. I mean, yes, she did Mohai, the creative director for Mohai, which is an amazing thing, but she's done other museums. You'd think, what? Why? Really? And she makes them creative because she knows God's her partner. She doesn't just think it, she feels it. And that's what makes the difference. So we need to start feeling that. So those are 2 steps. If you worked on feeling for the next 4 weeks, just worked on feeling. For those of you that are on the, and some of you are doing the 40 days to prosperity, if you just did the statements and got into the feeling, there will be a shift. Trust me, there will be such a shift. I remember when my life shifted. I shifted big time because I'd been using all the words. I'd used all of the programs. I read Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Kathianne Ponder, and everything was working. I was making more and more and more money. I think in a year and a half, I tripled my income, and I was still broke. See, I got the money, but I was broke. I felt broke. And I remember looking at my bills and my checkbook and thinking, I always feel the same way. Oh, I'm always depleted. And then the light went off. Oh, look what I've done. Look how incredibly creative I am. Triple my income and still be broke. Man, that's masterful. Gee. And then I started to feel powerful. And then I cultivated the experience, the inner feeling of having enough, because I'd never felt that way in my whole life. And that feeling changed things. I didn't even start making more money. I just started having more money. Feeling trumps everything. Cultivate feeling. Now, this is an advanced teaching. Now we're going to go to the 3rd one. This is for those people who want to be spiritual ninjas. Did I do that right? Jeff has got a black belt. Did I do that? Did it look kind of good? Wouldn't want to mess with me, would you? Didn't think so. For those of you that really want to shift your soul, because remember, spirituality is about your spirit and your soul. The way of true soul healing is to take every experience and the unpleasant feelings that come with them and evaporate those feelings. Did you know you could do that? And the way you do that, and this is where it gets hard, because you really need to use your imagination here, is that you love the challenge and you love the accompanying feelings. Love them. Love changes everything. And someone, I love her, she, during first service, she said, how am I supposed to love this experience I've got? And well, where is it? It's in here. Well, love here. I can't tell you how to do it. I've trained myself to love something. And if I choose to love something, I start to love something. It's like it does not earn my love. I just decide to love. How many of you have got relatives? You've got to do it all the time. You know, you just love them. There are going to be neighbors. There will be people at work that they don't earn your love. You just love them. They are an opportunity to love, to choose it, to imagine it, and to cultivate the feeling. So the same thing with these experiences that can happen. When something triggers you and you think, oh, I'm not going to be secure, it triggers you and you become frightened. It triggers you and you think you're going to be abandoned. It triggers you and you think they're going to betray you. It triggers you and you think that you're going to be a failure. Guess what? You take that and you love that. Wow, I am so grateful that I'm having this experience so that I can overcome this feeling. And you hold it in your psyche. And it's almost, it's metaphorical and it's mythical and therefore powerful, because myth operates at the level of the soul. And you hold that baby and you love it. You just wrestle with it, and I will love you just like I got to the point where I loved my checkbook and my bills, because they were bringing me to the place where I realized I'd given away my power. I had let the experience of not enough take over my life. And so I loved this come to Jesus meeting I was having at my dining room table. I loved it, and I loved the feeling, and everything shifted. Because see, when you love something that's not true, it evaporates, because what holds everything that's not true in place is our resistance to it. And have you noticed resistance is futile? I mean, you resist, you try to go unconscious, you get busy with something else, you drink, you drug, you shop, you watch TV endlessly. Game of Thrones cannot take away the pain, honest. But if you meet it, you'll notice that it acquiesces to your attention. It goes away. It moves back. And it's a tough one. I would do it in the presence, if you need more help, in the presence of a practitioner, in a presence of someone that can assist you in staying present. Just as when Andrea was there, I set in her mind a new reality, which was, you will not be the effect of your circumstances. You can be strong even when you're losing, because God inside of you is stronger than what's happening. And a practitioner of prayer can help you feel that as they feel it with you. So, we've got a few minutes. I'm open to one question. Anybody got a question, a burning question? Yes, right over here. Wait.
The image I got was that you create a container of love that holds all that scary, icky stuff, and through alchemy came to my mind.
Yes, alchemy.
And then it is transformed from
Yes.
icky, scary stuff into stuff that
Yes.
will move
However you want to
forward.
imagine it, that is the way that it works. However you want to imagine it. Because these principles are all the same, but we use different images to work with them personally. So if that's the image you want, that's a great image.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's pray. How many of you would like to have more prosperity? Because it's freedom, it's thriving, it's well-being, it's blossoming, it's blooming, it's expression. So I'd like you to hold in your mind what that might be like for you. It's always going to be individual and personal. Some of you want to prosper in the area of relationships, in creativity. Some of you want to feel successful We all prosper in different ways. Well, how would you prosper? How are you being called to prosper? Some of you want to prosper financially because that allows you more freedom to choose what you're doing. Take a deep breath and move ahead. You're going to move into your future, and at a certain date, you're just going to stop. The highest self of you, the Holy Spirit, will move you into the future until it's your time to stop. So move ahead 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, year and a half, 2. Move into the future until you are at the place where you are living the prosperous life you imagine. And now, look around. What's it like to be there? What's it feel like? How do you see yourself? How are you different? How do you speak? How do you walk? What are you doing? How are people reacting to you? Imagine it and feel it. See it and feel it. And so I give thanks that I can speak my word for each and every one of us because there's one mind, and so I am the one that gets to speak the words, that the spiritual power of imagination is being activated within each and every one of us. And the spiritual power of will is being activated so that we can focus our imagination for a greater yet to be for ourselves. A greater yet to be. That we love and we bless the life we have, and we allow ourselves to thrive in new and different ways. I give thanks that this is not about negating anything. This is about accepting that we are here to grow and to become even more of our infinite, beautiful, divine self. I'm so grateful that we can now feel that as well as think that. And that any negative emotion that shows up now, this afternoon, next week, we just embrace it and say, oh, I love you, and hold it until it evaporates. I'm so grateful that we have the power of imagination and will to do that, to do just that. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for bringing us here this day and getting us started once again on the road to a greater sense and feeling of prosperity. And so it is. You know, this particular community gets by with a little help from our friends. That's how we survive. And I'm very grateful for your gifts. Also, when you came in, you got a pledge card. And what that lets us know is what you think. It's an intentional giving card. Like, what am I going to give next year? As Andrea was saying, she writes down a number and knows she'll make that and more. And I kind of do that every year too. Ooh, and it happens. But whether you want to be out on the very, very skinny branch with some of us, or you want to play it really close to the trunk, it doesn't matter. But we'd love to know, I'd love to know how you might support this place. Because there's 3 reasons to give here. 1, you're being served now. You get fed here. 2, you have been fed. You know, your life has somehow shifted because of this place. And the next reason is that you know that you create a space for somebody else like Andrea to show up or you to show up. And we're here. And we continue to serve people. And actually all the people that are watching out there, we have many people watching, hello, in their jammies, as there are here. So we want to actually expand our ability to interact with people through the web, and that's going to take some finances. we're also, because I'm very committed to getting this message out, we will be offering our core classes for pay anything you want to next year. So, so that this teaching, which is valuable, is accessible to as many people as possible. And we'll get by with a little help from our friends. And I didn't ask that to be sung. That's God's idea. God orchestrates this whole thing. I love how God works. And God orchestrated you being here. I hope that you take something back. I hope it's really somehow something in your soul says yea and amen. Because no matter what you imagined, no matter what you saw as prosperity, it's only the beginning of what God has planned for you, honestly. I'm totally amazed at what's opening up for me when I've surrendered everything. I'm amazed. So thank you for your gift. I bless it now. And more than that, I bless the giver. And so it is.